Hello, everyone. Welcome into another episode of the Big Blue News Podcast. And I am joined again by former UK quarterback Stephen Johnson, who helped UK to get to its first bowl appearance under Mark Stoops and also helped to beat Will Westwell. I didn't have a podcast last year, but I did interview him, so I'll put that link in the description. But Stephen, how are you doing?
I'm great, Chris. How are you?
I'm doing well. So before we get into your time at UK, I want to talk about your personal story with growing up with Tourette's. How did that impact you growing up?
Say that one more time.
Before we get into your time at UK, I just want to talk about, you growing up with Tourette's. How did that impact you early on?
It was tough. It was really tough with just making friends, trying to relate to other people with Tourette's and my tics. Um, People were a little bit more standoffish towards me. Therefore, I was a little bit more resistant to talking to people. So it was tough growing up with Tourette's. But after getting over it and just kind of getting past it and through it, it was definitely a big part of my life growing up.
Mhm. And how do you think you overcame it?
God, God, that is the one and only thing that helped me get through that. Prayer, prayer for with my parents, prayer with my church. It that all led to one thing, which is God.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And what do you want to tell people who do suffer from it?
I understand that it is tough. I understand that it is a not a normal thing that most people can really understand and relate to. Um, just don't let it define you. There are a lot of people out there now that are trying to share their stories and help other people with Tourette's and they're still going through it. And your tics do not define you. That's what I would like to say.
And I agree with you on that. All right, now let's get into high school with football. What was the recruiting experience like for you?
In high school, it was basically non-existent for me. Um, I went through my entire college or my entire high school career, did okay. Wasn't definitely was not the greatest high school quarterback um, out there, but uh, what is it called? The signing day kind of rolled around for me. Saw a couple of my buddies sign that day, and it was really kind of depressing and sad. But at the last minute, late March, I got a call from uh, Grambling State University from Doug Williams, and that was the only football coach that ever reached out to me, and that's where I went.
Mhm. And you did commit to Grambling State University. You did well with 59 passes for 723 yards. You did suffer a high ankle sprain and you had to leave redshirt. How hard was that for you?
It was tough. It was tough. Redshirting my freshman year, I understood it. Doug Williams' son, Doug Williams the third, was a great quarterback. So being behind him, I understood my role. I understood just watch him, see what he does, grow from him. But leading up to the my sophomore year with Doug getting hurt, and me kind of going into it and being the starting quarterback, things were going very well for me. Those first four games, I was really lighting it up. I was much more confident. And then that high ankle sprain, being out for 6 weeks, really put me back. Um, Not so much with football, but just with life, depression after that, and then once being told by the new coach there, Coach Fobbs, that I would not start ever as a quarterback for the remainder of my time at Grambling. That was kind of the kicker for me, of having to try to figure it out moving forward from there. So
And how did you overcome, your depression and life, after that injury?
uh, prayer, talking with my parents. There was a very key moment that I remember coming back for spring break to California. Me and my parents kind of sat down at a restaurant and I let them know everything that had happened, let them know what the coach had told me. And we sat there and we prayed and we talked and decided to that Grambling may not be the best place for me, but to go back to a junior college, and did fairly well at the junior college, and that just kind of helped me grow my confidence back again, and that led to Kentucky.
Mhm. And let's talk a little bit about your junior college. I mean, for your first year there, only 1 year, you had over 3,000 passing yards. and also over 400 rushing yards. What was it like playing at Juco College?
Junior college was, and I don't want to diminish junior college in any way, but where I was at, it was as if I was playing back in high school, but had the knowledge and the strength, I guess, of a college quarterback. So it was a lot easier, a lot slower for me to pick up as opposed to playing a 1AA college like Grambling State. I had some very, very good receivers with me there, so they made it a lot easier for me. My offensive line was very good as well. So all of that really contributed to me just being able to do my best and get key players on my team the ball and let them kind of work from there.
And then you transferred, obviously, and you were verbally committed to Hawaii, but UK reached out to you. How close were you to actually committing to Hawaii?
Well, I had actually committed to Hawaii verbally. I had told Coach Rolovich that I wanted to go. I did my official visit. I fell in love with the school, fell in love with the players, fell in love with the environment. Hawaii is such a special place. Not many people get to go to Hawaii, and being able to know that I could go to college in Hawaii was almost a dream come true, being a California guy and wanting to go to the beach every day. So I had committed to verbally to Coach Rolovich, but somewhere along the lines, within a week, the paperwork from Hawaii to California got mixed up. And within that time, I got a call from Coach Henshaw and said that they would like to offer me a scholarship to come to University of Kentucky. So took my official visit while I was waiting, thought it couldn't hurt, and met with Courtney Love while I was there on my official visit. Wasn't anything fancy, wasn't anything glamorous. It was, hey, this is us, this is what we do, and we get to play against the best of the best. And I was sold. We like I said, we didn't do anything spectacular. It was real and deep, the conversation that me and him had about what college football is and what I would like it to be. So.
And then once you finally committed, you were the backup QB. Did Drew Barker ever help you out at first whenever he was the starter?
He did. And I think I was lucky in that sense. You don't get that everywhere. I was lucky with that at Grambling, being with Doug Williams and John Williams. Those guys, older guys, really teaching me and coaching me. And then being there with Drew, it wasn't, we all knew that we were competing. We all knew that Drew was the number one guy. But being there in a quarterback room with Coach Henshaw, Drew, Luke, Gunner, it was as if we were just one big family. So whenever I saw something out there, I'd tell him. Whenever he saw something out there, he'd tell us. And it was good to have no animosity, no stress behind being in a room of guys that are competing for one spot on a team, or one spot on the field, but we could all get along.
Mm-hmm. And UK didn't start out the year too hot, but how were you and the team able to flip the season around, you think?
I think it was just that blue collar mentality that Kentucky has. We understand that we are always the underdogs. We understand that we are not supposed to win games, yet the guys that were on that team, especially the older guys, John Toth, Nick Haynes, JoJo, all those guys are boom. They were truly the leaders and wanted everybody to play up to their standards. So we all pretty much followed suit, and I did the same. I would not ever say that was my team. I said that would be a collective team of guys that really wanted to win and to fight. And I think that kind of rubs off on everybody when you see Joe trying to get extra yards and you see Nick playing against guys that are bigger than him, but just slamming them on the ground, and John calling out plays. And it is truly, truly amazing how that team all came about.
And I recently actually interviewed JoJo Kim, and I actually saw him before the South Carolina game that UK eventually lost to, but he was having a great time. I could tell before that game. So I know we always talk about the two biggest games early on for Stoops was South Carolina in 2014, and then also Mississippi State in 2016. How did it feel to win such an impactful game for Stoops early on?
It felt great. We all loved and still love Stoops. He's like a second father to me and to a lot of guys. So to be able to, we all want to go out there and win as many games as we can, but we want to do it even more for him. With controversies, with different things that are going on within the program, knowing what type of guy he is, we always wanted to do the best that we could for him, and especially for him. So the Mississippi State game, I know wasn't my best game, but it was a very big game that had happened. With the kick at the very end, driving down the field, that one kind of set us over the edge and was like, okay, we can really play against good teams and we can win against good teams. So.
And then we finally get bowl eligible, or I should say we, since I'm not a part of the team, but UK finally gets bowl eligible. How do you feel, to have to play that awesome game?
It was good. It was good to know that we didn't have to fight too hard to go and get to a bowl game. Although we did fight very hard, to know that towards the end of the season, all right, we know we have Austin Peay, we have Louisville. We are very capable of going ahead and actually being to a bowl game for the first time in a long time. So everybody, it's not an undefeated season, but everybody's very much proud of the accomplishments that we had during that season.
And it was the first time since 2011 that UK got into a bowl game. I don't really want to talk too much about the Cards game because I interviewed you last year, but what was it like to, get that win against Louisville when we were an underdog?
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. It's for me, I've always been the type of guy that thrives under adversity. So to hear people screaming at you and saying everything but a man of God or a child of God, it is that fuels me. So going into a game like that in a hostile environment really makes me want to play even harder. So beating Lamar at Louisville in the way that we did, there's almost no better feeling.
What did he say before the first snap of that game?
I said, I love this shit. and it's not like I knew a camera was on me. It was just a very much in the moment. Wow, this is everything that I could have dreamed of, coming from Grambling, coming from high school, coming from junior college, to be in a stadium like that is packed with people screaming and yelling and knowing what your assignment is and knowing that, oh, wow, I have a touchdown right here. And everybody's going to be quiet after this is amazing. Yeah, nothing but amazing.
How did the team stay composed in that game?
I don't even know if it was composure that we had. We were all just so amped up. But keeping it, I guess, under wraps, which is composure, it was not hard for us to do, being that we knew we weren't supposed to win that game, but having games that we fought in before that with, like you said, Mississippi, is kind of what we knew where we were. We knew where we were at. We knew that we could beat this team. And I think that's what kind of kept us in it, is knowing what we were capable of.
Mm-hmm. And finally, for your first year, how was it like playing that bowl game?
That playing in that bowl game was crazy. It was something that none of us had ever experienced before. Most of the guys, by that time of the year, you're with your family, you're sitting down watching football, and now you're still practicing, and you're practicing in a different place. You're practicing in a place where it's 90 degrees outside as opposed to it being 30 degrees in Kentucky. So it was a little different. I wish I would have done a lot better. I have a lot of things like that, wishing I would have done better, but it was a great experience to show that, hey, we're capable of actually making it to one of these. We can continue to do this down the line. And we've seen it over the last few years of Kentucky going to bowl games. So
I think most fans were just happy that UK finally got into a bowl game.
Yeah.
All right, now let's get into year two. Whenever you were at UK, it looked like there was a little rivalry between South Carolina and Kentucky. Y'all didn't shake hands at the very beginning. You also stuck out your tongue. What was it like in that game?
Like I said, for me, it's I thrive under adversity. I thrive under someone being a little bit disrespectful, and going out there, and there's cameras and videos of the entire encounter. So, trying to stick your hand out and the guy's just standing there stiff and staring you in your eyes. Um, there were some words exchanged between me and Nick and Courtney, just trying to settle us down. But that type of disrespect, at least not to shake somebody's hand before a game, is what gets me fired up. So remembering, okay, the guy across from me, number 24, oh, you, all right, I'll see you later on in the middle of the game. And it wasn't till the end of the game, but that entire time I didn't forget who he was if I was going to see him again. So when I had my opportunity to kind of rub it in his face, I took advantage of it.
And before we get into the second bowl game, let's talk about the Tennessee matchup. It came down to the very end, and you were injured with your shoulder. Were you limited at all throwing the ball?
Say that one more time.
Were you limited in the Tennessee game with throwing the ball? Because I know you got injured.
I mean, yeah, my shoulder the entire season, both shoulders, in fact, were kind of shot. So anytime any pressure would press against it, both arms are just completely still. It's as if they're not even there. I can't move them at all. So just trying to be cautious of it, but being the kind of guy that I am, I just want to go out and play hard. So I try to hit people and they'd hit me and I'd fall on it and then I can't feel it anymore. So getting that shot from Jim back in my shoulder, feeling a million times better, and running back onto the field just because I wanted to get on the field as fast as I could. But hearing the crowd, it gives you that extra boost. And it was a cold game, but I couldn't feel a thing. So it was winning like that against a very, very tough Tennessee team was awesome.
What was it like playing, on the home field with Commonwealth Stadium? How was it with the fans and everything?
It was amazing. It was truly amazing. The atmosphere is like no other. That train horn that comes through kind of shoots chills down your body every time you hear it when there's third down. It's hard to explain unless you've been down there on the field and all that volume kind of compacts down onto you. There's no other feeling like that.
And I've been a media member a couple of games this year, and I know that UK South Carolina game was crazy, but UK didn't get the win sadly this year. But let's talk about you scoring the game-winning touchdown against Tennessee with that run. What was going through your mind in that play?
Just the read keys that I'd had, the stuff like that kind of slows down for me as I'm on the field, as I'm sure other players and people have talked about, being on the field, certain things will kind of slow down for them. So having run read zone a million times, you understand what your keys are, what you're looking at, and you can kind of tell where a guy is, how he's feeling him out, based off of his leverage, based off his eyes, based off his shoulders, what he's looking at. So seeing number 5 kind of come down the line, even though he's not completely squared off and looking at Benny, I can tell he can't out leverage me. So pull the ball, get a great block from, I think it was Garrett at the time. And I can't really run over people, but I want to get in the end zone. So trying to jump over and leap and at least do something to get the ball in the end zone was just all kind of, I don't know, just instinct, I guess.
And then let's talk about the bowl game. Obviously, it didn't go UK's way with Benny Snell getting ejected. You felt like there was a late hit, which led to a flag from unsportsmanlike conduct.
Mm-hmm.
But what was the final decision that led to y'all going for a 2-point conversion?
It wasn't anything verbal, and we all just kind of knew. Once we scored that touchdown, it was, you know, I love Austin to death, but we weren't going to let Austin come out there on the field and send it into overtime. We were going to try to win it right there. I didn't even have to look at Stoops. I just kind of stayed on the field, and I could hear from the guys, hey, this is what Coach Stoops is saying, go for it, go for it. So there was no verbal decision made. We all just kind of knew, hey, this is what we're going to do. We know, you know, the few 2-point conversion plays that we'll run, and we're pretty sure that Gran wants to run that specific one. It was a good play, that we didn't get the rub right, and to get the ball to Garrett. So he was kind of locked up at the time, and I could feel some pressure on my back. So I just tried to give Taven a little bit of a shot, and it was just out of reach for him. So I wouldn't have asked for it any other way. I wouldn't have wanted to go into overtime. I would have wanted to win it right then and there. If I had to go and do it over again, I'd do it the exact same way.
I know both teams were trying to win. I know Northwestern went on and on that fourth down. They didn't convert. And then we got the ball back, which led to that touchdown. And we sadly did not get that 2-point conversion, but you know, it was still a great season. We went 7-6 that year, I believe. So it was still a great year.
Yeah.
You definitely changed the program, in my opinion. So now let's talk about what you are doing currently, since you've been out of college and graduated from UK.
Yeah, so I'm back in California. Recently proposed to my beautiful, beautiful fiance. So right now we're in the process of wedding planning and getting everything going. But we have a nice home here in Southern California, and I have a home remodeling business that I have with me right now, and just taking care of that, trying to grow it to greater heights. Growing up, I always wanted to be an architect, so this is kind of the closest thing I got to it, being that Kentucky doesn't offer an architectural program. But I love what I do. I love where I'm at. I just love everything about Southern California, and I'm very, very happy with kind of where I'm at in my life right now.
I'm glad to hear that. But now let's talk about this UK-Tennessee matchup coming up. So what do you think will happen exactly to this game? Score prediction: UK is ranked 19th, Tennessee is ranked 3. What do you have to say?
It's going to be a very tough game. Having played in Tennessee once before, with a very good quarterback at the time on Tennessee side, Josh Dobbs, knowing what that atmosphere is like, what it can be, what 110,000 people screaming and yelling at you is like. I'm sure Will is going to do everything that he possibly can to put us in a great position. And so will the defense, but it's going to be a very tight and tough game. Tennessee is very, very good this year. They are not going to lay down for anybody, especially not at home with their fans and against a rival like Kentucky. So my prediction is a shootout. I think it is going to be a very high scoring game. And I would never choose us to lose. I think we can win every single game, and should have won every single game this year, but my final prediction is probably 42-41 Kentucky.
Wow, winning by 1 point, if it by a field goal, or you know, 7 touchdowns, or did I do my math right? 6 touchdowns, my bad.
Yep.
But so what do you think Kentucky has to do to get a win, though?
We've got to get the offense going. First and foremost, the last couple of weeks have not been great for us offensively. I know part of that has to do with Will's injury and having to be out, but I think that's going to be a big part of it. Very confident in the defense. They do have some tough matchups with Hayden at quarterback, and I don't know his name, but number 11, I think it is, out at wide receiver for Tennessee. He is a true stud, and we got to see that against Alabama. So I think our defense is going to do well as they can. They are a group of guys that are hard fighters. So I think the key moments for us and key things for us are going to be offensively getting the ball down the field.
And coming from a QB, how impressed have you been with Will Levis?
Extremely, extremely. You can tell that he's the type of quarterback I wanted to be, with throwing the ball as accurately as he does, as fast as he does, jumping over people, running over people. He's definitely heavier than I was when I played at Kentucky. So it is great to see a guy leading by example, willing to kind of put his body on the line. You don't see that much now, especially with guys that are predicted first round as quarterbacks. They're trying to protect themselves, but Will is doing everything he can within his power to put us in the best position to win football games. So I'm very happy that Will Levis is on our team and not other teams. I'm excited for this matchup tomorrow.
And I'm excited about the matchup as well. Hopefully, UK wins. My score prediction, I think it'll be a little bit low scoring. I'll say 35-31 UK will win by 4 points. So hopefully we're both right. UK wins. Do you have anything else you would like to add?
No, I think this is great, Chris. I appreciate you bringing me on.
Oh, I appreciate you joining my podcast, and I appreciate you allowing me to interview you last year as well.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.